Carl here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and I'm here with the Crawling guys. We are less than 2 hours now since you played?
I can't work it out. I'm still learning 24-hour clocks. It is 15:43, 5 hours. 3 hours away? Yeah.
How are the nerves?
It's getting closer. Yes.
Yeah?
Excited. I'm trying to work out which emotion it is I'm feeling right now. You know, so I think I'm pretty much into most of the excitement phase at the minute.
You've got to be kind of just desperate to get up there, right, though?
Yeah, it's been hard waiting about all day.
Yeah. Talking of which then, guys, last 18 months, the pandemic period, got to talk about it. How you guys been coping? How you been holding up?
It's been a tough year and a half. We've tried to do as much as we can, social media, we've got a single out over the period, practice when we could. We kept talking and kept doing things when we couldn't. It's been tough for everybody. But I think hopefully we're near on the other side of it, and this is day one.
Do you kind of feel like this is a sort of starting point again for you guys?
I suppose kind of from a live point of view.
Yeah, from a live point of view.
I think it has to improve now. The live circuit looks like it's about to open up, and if that happens, well then everyone's back on track. We can just start moving forward what we had originally planned to do 2 years ago. But it's just going to be picking up the pieces and seeing what's left and seeing what we can keep doing.
What positive stories you've been able to take out of this period? We know it's been a very negative time for all bands. It doesn't matter the size of you.
Yeah.
But positive stories that you guys have been able to sort of go, yeah, you know what, that worked quite nicely for us.
We haven't done too badly. I mean, there's two sides to the whole lockdown period. Like, there's your personal, emotional sort of how that's doing, and then there's the whole band. And obviously they're quite symbiotic, because if your band's terrible, then my emotional state is terrible.
Yeah.
So from the very start, it was like, okay, this has happened. We can't just sit here and wait for gigs to come back, because that's not how the world works. And everyone knows if you don't do anything or put shit out, your band's going to fade away and be taken over by the 1,000 million other bands. So we did, as Stuart said, we put some like YouTube videos out and tried to do a social media thing. We did do a single, we did a short, like a documentary thing as well, and put it out on YouTube. And just kind of staggered as much as we could over the year. And the combination of that and maybe other bands not doing that meant that our Spotify play started to creep up.
Oh, you noticed it?
Yeah, and the numbers kept ticking on. And for a band that's been done no gigs in 18 months to continue to get social media engagement,
it is the word.
It's a word. So, but you know what? Yeah, it is. It's social media engagement, and it did start to creep up, and it's just been ticking away nicely.
Do you guys think you're pretty clued in to that aspect of it? Because I know a lot of bands struggle with the whole demand, the social media demand.
Yeah, I'm aware it's critical for bands. I think it's critical for bands to get involved in it, especially the video really seemed to explode over the last 3 or 4 years. Started off with the lyric videos was a big thing, and then as more and more people started doing it, you could see everyone was getting videos shot, and that's all part of it.
I think as well, because everything was at such arm's length for the last year now, it had to happen. There was no other way bands had to keep in touch with people, and I think the one positive I sort of can see out of the whole lockdown is that I think it's brought the metal community closer together, because they had to make an effort to go and see what bands were doing, and
you have is social media.
And this everybody feels just normal again, and everybody's back, and all I've seen over the last sort of day and a half are clearly people who haven't seen each other in a long time, and very pleased to see each other and getting back into some sense of normality.
Plus, only thing people had over the last year and a half is social media.
Yeah.
Because you can't leave, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. So you're either living previous experiences or you're engaging in what is happening on the internet.
Were you guys, both of you, were you locked down? Were you on furlough? Were you working?
Both continued to work.
Yeah, quite
Andy
sadly.
more on the front line than me. I've been back to work for about 5 months now. I worked from home for quite a while, but we both worked the whole way through.
Yeah, I'm NHS, so kind of had to go to work.
Of course.
It was just like, people are like, oh, the lockdown was awful. It was like, I had to go to work and then do nothing every weekend or every couple of days. Work, do nothing, work, do nothing. Yeah.
Mate,
I suppose it did keep me out of the house. Obviously, your work environment, it keeps a bit of normality to it. So I don't think I had it as bad as people that were forced to stay at home, or people lost their jobs.
When it comes to gigs coming back, shows coming back, not just yourself but going to them, do you think people are going to have trepidation about returning at first, or do you think it's going to be a bit of a rush and you're basically going to get a period, say a year or two, of just sold out shows?
I think so. I hope so.
Which one?
I think it'll flood. I think people will flood gigs for a while. I think once it's clear that things are reasonably safe, I think it'll happen. It's probably the danger of maybe if starting smaller club shows too soon, people will feel nervous about going, but if we can get to a point where people feel safe to go, I think they'll
I think it'll
passion for it, a thirst for it.
I think everyone's just going to go to gigs. I think if it had been after maybe 3 months of a lockdown, people would have been like, what the fuck was that? Can I go out? Is it safe? But by 18 months, 2 years, it's like, don't care.
After Arson, did you guys play, or did you consider playing any of these kind of socially distant lockdown shows that came about briefly at certain cities?
No.
No.
Have any back from the venues that don't size the venues doesn't lend themselves to being able to do it.
Once it was sort of like we were maybe 6 months in, there was talk of those sort of socially distant gigs that sort of remember it opened up and then it was like, fuck no, don't do that. And I remember in our post to a few people, it was like, live stream? No, definitely not. Yeah. Not for us. It's not going to happen. It's not for me. It's not what I enjoy. And then the socially distant thing, it was like, I don't think that's going to work for me either, so I don't want to do that. But then by 18 months, it was like, maybe. I can revisit this because I haven't done anything heavy metal. You know, and it's as you say, the social media, you have to be switched on to that side of it, and you can't ignore it forever. You know, if this is the new norm, you know.
Yeah. How does it feel to be here then? Was there any sort of fear to begin with, or does it just feel like normal now you're here?
I have to confess, I was getting into the gates, and it was like, this is fine. It was like going back to work after 6 months off or something, you know. You get in and you see everybody and you see the whole place, and it's like, it's all very familiar and safe. And it's like, yeah, do you know what? We're Bloodstock, it's cool.
I think last night I was a bit on edge, but I think
it was
getting
tired.
through day one, I think tiredness played a part.
I think it was fucked.
Today I've just eased into it and I'm more relaxed, and I think it's all good again.
I think it felt weird coming in. It did feel weird, like, but I was okay about it. But I think it was more of the playing thing and being nervy about that, and I couldn't work out what was happening because I didn't know anything at that point. So I think it was a lot of that, just sort of messing with my head a bit.
And it's quite an interesting lineup this year, kind of the pride of the UK, effectively, predominantly British bands. Yeah. You guys are part of that. Do you feel part of that?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been supported by day one, really, by other British bands and British promoters. We were quite lucky. We got to do Metal of the Masters in 2016, so we were here. We got to know a fair few people just here, and then the next year when we started touring, hit those people and we're like, remember we chatted at Bloodstock gigs? Any chance you could maybe? It was like, yeah, of course. And we were getting put onto these all-dayers and festivals in England, and it was all just for meeting people at this sort of festival and others, you know. So I do feel part of the British scene.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, we've always been welcomed into it. No matter where we've played, we've been people have been great with us. We really have. And here's no exception. It's always been good. Every time we've been here.
Yeah.
And are you guys planning to stay around all weekend?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you looking to check out?
Black Tongue.
Black Tongue. Okay, that's the first time it's come up.
Cradle of Filth for me. Never had a chance to see them live before.
Oh really? That's fascinating.
That's the reaction I get every time I tell Annie. What?
I think it's because you're so old. I just can't believe the fact that, you know, for a man that saw Judas Priest in 1971,
it's just never happened. I know. It's just never happened. You know, every time they've played anywhere near me, where I was at home or here, I just haven't been able to do it. So I'm super excited about seeing them.
Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts, and of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal, what else is life for?